I don't know. It's a mad world we live in.
Okay. And I sent you this one.
Yes, you did. And I knew that we had to discuss it just because
All right, now
if there's anything that's in your wheelhouse, it's this.
We're going to talk about sexual impropriety in the military.
Army Colonel Megan Sullivan accused of forcibly kissing one male subordinate and grabbing another below the belt. Did you know of any female commanders who were like this in your time?
Nope.
Most of them were just like Dina.
Though, yeah, she was horrid. There was a couple in there. I probably could have made some moves and been successful, but it would have ruined my career.
Yeah,
it's not worth it. I'm like, I'm not fishing off the company pier. We're not doing that.
No, you never.
Yeah, it's never a good thing when you start, rubbing your gonads on individuals in your unit. It's typically frowned upon.
Eyes ahead, Private. Sir, are those your testicles on my forehead? Straight ahead. Knife hand. You're going to have lots of distractions in battle, soldier. It's good to get over this now.
Oh, my God. That is messed up. And all right, and then we hear all about the sexual assault and rape in the military.
Yeah.
In 33 years, I think I have heard of maybe 2, possibly 3 actual beatdown rapes that soldiers committed. And you were talking about Fort Lewis, Fort Bragg, Fort Benning.
You were all over.
Fort Stewart. Yeah. There's a couple in Wisconsin. I mean, I've been all over the place. And usually when there's a big sexual investigation, this is typically how it works out. You got an E3 to an E5, sometimes an E6. Woman who's fairly attractive. Literally playing the system, leveraging her looks against dudes to, progress in their career, not have to get certain assignments, not have to do certain jobs. And then the people who get crucified are the guys in charge. I'm like, this wasn't an ape array.
No.
It was a consensual get out of work kind of thing by accepting deliveries to the throat yogurt land. That's all it was. And then I know in New York, there was this happened just before I got there. They had a battalion commander who got in close with an E4, and literally this E4 got away with not even showing up at drill, getting paid for not drilling, getting put on long-term orders, not showing up for the duty, but getting paid to do it.
Mm.
Well, that got an audit down the road, and I believe that lieutenant colonel is busted one rank and kicked out of the service.
Good times.
Yeah. Listen, man, I have no idea what people, what they're thinking out there in the real world. But, if at any point you actually allow the big head to overpower the little head, you're going to notice a few things. One, you're going to lose the urges to stick your dick in holes that you're not acquainted with. Because there could be anything but, a toothless goat. It could be a meth and dick situation. You don't need that, okay?
No, you don't.
You need to make sure the big head overpowers the little head. So when you have these women come up like, hey, yeah, maybe you can work some out. You're like, how about you just pass the fucking PT test and quit fucking eating and lose weight? Yeah, that seems like it works out pretty good.
It's much better, and that way you avoid, certain diseases.
Gonorrhea, no. Oh, no. And in the Army Reserves, up at Southfield, Michigan, the unit's not there anymore, but one of the soldiers who was staying at the BAQ barracks, which is basically, we rent out a whole floor of a hotel nearby the unit, which is a huge waste of money, but that's another. And he goes, hey, Sergeant Popp, just so you have a heads up, there was some nefarious shit going on in the hotel last night. And I'm like, well, what is going on? He's like, yeah, it was a gangbang of monumentous proportion.
Monumentous proportion?
Yeah, and I'm like, did they like get a prostitute or something? They're like, nope. And I'm like, okay, now it's getting bad.
Oh, no.
If they're having a gangbang and a prostitute, I can deal with that.
Was this barracks bunnies or?
No, this was actual women that were in the unit.
Oh, no.
Were literally banging 16, 17 dudes in a row while consuming hard liquor. Wow. I tried to talk to these female soldiers, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get in trouble. I can't do this. So I went and I got all the male soldiers who stayed in those hotels, and I said, listen, bro, I hear one more report of any way-hey-haying going on, and I will have every motherfucker breaking up concrete with sledgehammers for the next motherfucking year.
And all because a bunch of chicks were like, there you go.
Listen, and they're drinking. It's stupid.
It's really stupid. And of course, because this is a controlled opposition article, you have to have this section here. The reported investigation comes as the Army has battled an epidemic of harassment in its ranks for several years, though male victims only account for about 10% or 14,000 cases per year of unwanted contact, according to Defense Department data. Is this the same Defense Department that expects us to believe that the military has a lower divorce rate than the average population?
Yeah, literally the stat they gave us was like 1960 Leave It to Beaverland.
Yeah, they're like,
stat.
it's only like 5 to 10%.
I'm like, what?
You got to be out of your fucking mind.
90% of all the soldiers I've ever interacted with who went to a combat zone with a combat type job came back within 5 years. 90% were divorced.
Yep. So it's literally they expected to pitch the inverse of reality.
Yeah. I'll have none of that.
People.
And I'll tell them to their face.
And we know from actual studies and data that, at least in the family and divorce court system, that 2/3 of all allegations levied in family court are fraudulent, and 80% of those are levied against men. So how many of these other 90% of so-called harassment cases in the Army are actually legit? Probably very few.
And I would love to see in divorce court, the minute she brings up this allegations of abuse, the divorce judge, and he's like, okay, we are now going into recess. I'm requesting a criminal investigation into this, and you better hope it's true. Because if you're trying to get an advantage in my court from lying, I'm going to basically slam fuck your ass.
Hey, some of those ladies in the gangbang might be into that,
I know. But I would love to see that.
Or if it's dudes, then it's,
Gay!
there you go. It's all rancid. Yeah, so that colonel, if she actually did do what she's being accused of, what do you think's going to happen?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Probably not much.
She's a chick, and this is not the woke
typically
army.
they female commanders fuck up. They quietly transfer them somewhere else, and then maybe it's like an easier assignment, and they let that 2 or 3 years go by because then it'll blow over.
Yeah,
and then they bring them back to the fucking shithole, and they're just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah,
I've seen that probably half a dozen times. I've seen captains royally screw up their commands, make all kinds of errors, lose millions of dollars in equipment, and 5 years later, I run into him again as a lieutenant colonel. I'm like, fuck up and go up. That's how it works. I can't stand that.
Just like Hollyweird, fail upwards.
Yep.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Popp for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.